Yo, what's up, my man? Give me just a second, guys. I'm gonna tweet this out here in a second. Dude, I just realized I accidentally unpinned my Wonky Stonks tweet. I need to put it back up there. But yeah, what's going on tonight, Bog? Well, we'll get Bog here in a second. If you guys would like to come up and join the stage as well, I know we've got a few people on their way right now. Feel free to hit that request button and we will get you guys up here. All right, we got Rooster coming up.
Yeah, sorry,
Puck on his way. No,
I
you're
got
fine,
rugged
man.
for a second.
No
What's
big
up,
deal.
Coach? Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on up.
I do have an exam in the mornings. I don't know how long I'll be in here, but
well, how do you feel about the exam?
Absolutely terrible, if I'm being honest.
Dude, what's it in?
It's a radiology and pathology exam, and I'm going into psychiatry. So It'll be interesting for me.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm trying to lie to myself and act like I'm interested in it.
Well, best of luck, man. Appreciate you coming up here for a bit anyway. Rooster, how's it going?
Yo, what up, what up?
Oh, man, just trying to get the room set up right now.
Nice, yeah, and it's a chill day for me. Me and the girlfriend went to brunch this morning, walked around outside, and it was pretty sunny, so yeah, it felt pretty nice.
Love to hear it, man. Love to hear it. Yeah, no, I mean, it's been a pretty chill day for me too. Can't complain. I mean, I've had a bunch of random things going on, but nothing too insane. But yeah, like I won't lie, Bog. I was a little bit surprised whenever I woke up this morning. That was pretty freaking insane.
Dude, so I could have probably bought the floor up to half an ETH, but this Ponzi thing just wound up being so stupid, and I round tripped like 20 ETH in unrealized gains. But I think Messi still has a huge bag. It's like that. God bless. I'm sorry, the Ponzi thing, like that thing was just. We found like their testnet contract, and those were just a bunch of Jeets, like a bunch of idiots. So like the thing made no sense, and like the mystery, like if they were dumb enough to leave breadcrumbs, I'm like,
So you found it before it was released.
Yeah, like we found the testnet contract, and we found the people behind it, and then we found out there is no secret sauce. These guys are just dummies. So
you're telling me the Ponzi was a Ponzi?
Yes, the Ponzi it wasn't even a good Ponzi. It was just a dumb Ponzi. Like you got to make it mysterious and cool, and then we just like found out everything. So yeah, no more Ponzi for me.
Breadcrumbs?
Well, they I don't know, like we like found like the wallets and like like the tokens that they had inside, and then we went to the Telegram group and find out like who they're doing the launch with, and like we found the guy's Twitter. Like the guy behind the account. I'm like, these guys are not smart. So if we can do that, like this like Occam's razor, these guys are just dopes. So
no shit, man. Well, here's the deal with Messi though. Messi just likes to enter different plays and farm, right? Like that is what Messi does whenever he buys up a chunk of the supply of something. Like, and if it from there, like he's never going to sell it. He's not going to do anything with it. It is just whatever transactions happen within the pool. Like he will rake in those fees and he is content with that. But like he's not really looking for so he like when he looks for a project, this is what I've realized, he looks for just like what has the potential for super high volume.
For sure. No, and that's the thing too. Like we all like had way better entries. Like we minted that thing, but we thought like it was going to be like a big meme because of the whole bonk thing. But I don't know. It didn't work out. So what I did is I sold everything and I just swept the stocks with whatever I had. So
freaking love it, man. I mean,
that was going to be the rotation anyway.
Freaking love to see it.
Yeah,
dude. I've got to bring up also the freaking hack that happened earlier, man. I freaking hate seeing that because, like, looking through that wallet of the guy that had, like, he had such a freaking solid collection, man. I don't think anybody has heard from him yet so far, but just awful, awful to see. If you're in the audience and you're like basically a guy in the stonk community had the same type of thing happen to him as what Kevin Rose had happen to him yesterday. So just be careful. There is a clear-cut phishing scam that's going on right now, and just I don't know, man. I mean, it's dangerous. He lost like a bunch of freaking grails and that are like, the guppy that was listed at 0.34 ETH. Thankfully that and the super bullish stonk, which I think that was the third most bullish return in the entire collection. A couple of things like that were just floored. And, there's still, a decent amount of those that are floored there on X2Y2. But yeah.
Should I buy those right now? Just to hold them? Or?
I mean, you could, man, but here's the way that I look at it. Like, with that type of thing, you can, and I guess it's a way to ensure it. But at the same time, the way I look at it, it kind of sucks, right? Like, I would never ask somebody to buy it just to, immediately give it back without the other person paying. But I would say if the other person has the ETH that you paid for it to be able to claim it back, I think that's kind of the proper etiquette for this type of thing, right? So it's one of those things where it sucks, but it's like, eventually somebody's going to have to pick it up, right? So I think the proper etiquette with that type of thing, and that's what Wonky Captain, who picked up, both of those grails that I mentioned earlier, I know he said that he would, do that if the guy ends up getting back to him. But I mean, if somehow the guy never gets back to him, then it's like, what can you do? Right. So hopefully the guy, and I would love to be able to see what happened too. I think knowing exactly what link that he got tricked by would be really useful for everybody else. But again, it's one of those things. If you're in the audience, I think what happened, he basically signed a transaction that allowed any approved OpenSea collection that he had to immediately be sold for zero. So all of his stonks were the only thing that he had in his wallet that were approved. He had some other things that were worth, something, but they weren't approved collections. He hadn't set the approval on OpenSea. The stonks were, though, so those were immediately drained, sent to X2Y2. Exact same thing that happened to Kevin Rose with his autoglyph and his squiggles.
Yeah, man, that's scary. Is it like just an OpenSea, like a C, like it, I don't know what the hell. I didn't really actually look into that, but
so
you got to go to cash and revoke access to everything if you haven't done that already.
So here's what he said. I was talking to that Nick guy that I was in the space with yesterday. Kind of like a funny coincidence that I was in the space with him the day before this went down. But he was like, yeah. So what happened is the victim signed an OpenSea Seaport message, which allowed the hacker to buy the NFTs for 0 ETH. And that's the thing that I'm not sure of, though. Like, and this shows my ignorance. I'm looking into. I just haven't had time to dive into it yet. But like, what the hell is a Seaport message on OpenSea? Like, what does that look like? I'm sure it was something. I think what it is like a URL that is linked to this OpenSea transaction thing that like somehow it's malicious in the way that it interacts and it allows them access to your OpenSea for the approved collections. But yeah, I don't know. Apparently he said there are 3 different groups that he's tracked down, 3 separate groups that are all running this exact same type scam right now. So it's something that's pretty rampant. And again, I just want to know exactly what because has Kevin Rose even shared what happened to him exactly yet?
Yeah, did he post it? I thought he posted a thread. I haven't looked into it, but does anyone else know on the stage?
No, I'm looking now to see if I can find anything. If he posted anything.
Dude, I was gonna say that the guy who did get the Wonkies fished, he did tweet a cube earlier and say that he did get fished, but he didn't say anything after that.
Dang, man. I mean, it hurts to hear. So I mean, I know there were a couple guys that tried DMing him, and I guess right now all we can do is just wait and see, and hopefully something works out, and he's able to get some of those stonks that he really liked, some of those blue chips back in his wallet. But yeah, man, Pick God, how are you doing tonight?
I'm chilling, man. I'm just vibing, and taking it in, enjoying it as usual. Super bullish on the stocks. I was just downstairs, like, showing them to my brother's friends for a while. But vibe, man. Looking forward to some bullish price action here, hopefully over the next week or so.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think whatever just happened with Bitcoin, that whole thing right there, again, it's one of those things going back to what I said earlier, it didn't break the range lows, right? Like, I think it's one of those things where there's a lot of chop that's happening right now within that 22 to 3, 23-3 range. But I think it's all just noise before the next move higher. I still think that next move higher is coming.
Fully agree, man.
Everything's
I'm ready.
Damn right it's coming.
So, but yeah, man, I mean, at the same time, I think something that can't be overstated is there are a lot of NFT projects right now as far as the quality rotation. That's why title of the space is blue chip season, is because a lot of those strong projects that kind of kick things off in December through the beginning of this month, as far as the consolidation, the bounce back, like they look pretty strong right now as far as, the potential slowly starting to creep back toward those highs.
Yeah, I mean, we needed a couple of weeks to consolidate. I think that's what's happening. And I mean, I posted the pudgy chart yesterday, posted the wonky chart today. But I mean, I did do a little painting with the wonky chart. But I mean, we were holding 0.3 regardless, and someone has to lead the charge. I actually knocked out a lot of like single stonk owners that were just listing there. I don't know if it were bots or what the case is, but it is what it is. And I saw lumber. I think lumber's up to 143. I'm at 187, so I might get to 200. We'll see, but I think that'll be a sweet spot. 2% and some change, but yeah.
Dude, I freaking love to see it, man. You're slowly trying to catch up to me. I mean, not slowly, quickly trying to catch up to me. Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, again, the stocks are inevitable. We've had a lot of spaces titled that, but like, it's the truth of the matter, right? When you look at where we are, what has managed to happen versus where we're heading, I think it's pretty obvious that the stocks are inevitable. It's something that after this much of a grind to get back to these levels, like, one way or the other, man, it is like, it's going to happen. It's been long enough. And, here's the deal. Even if it takes, a couple months longer, whatever the heck it takes to do it, we're going to put in the work to get there. And I think that's the important thing with anything really, is, again, looking for those projects where you have the consistency, right? Because even if something doesn't happen immediately the way that you think that it will or want it to, right? Like, it's about looking for the people that continue to show up, because the people that continue to show up are the ones that have the mindset, the work ethic to be able to make it happen and to be able to reach that next level. I can think of so many projects throughout the summer that were that same way, right? That just weren't getting the love that they deserved. And all it took was a few weeks to really start to take off. And, I think it's the exact same type thing here. It won't take much as far as a catalyst to really set things back into motion.
The longer we range, the harder we sin, right?
What do you think? What do you think happens first? BTC making the move, or NFT, like like something like the pudgies kind of trending up?
Whichever one values or whichever one benefits the CZ.
So I think BTC makes the first move, honestly. That's my opinion with it. Whether that is right or not, we'll see. But I don't know, man. I think BTC is not going to stay in this range that it's in too much longer. Like, it doesn't have to happen in the next 24 hours, but whenever it happens over the course of the next few days or a couple of weeks, like it's going to send out of this range one way or the other. And who knows? I mean, I guess if it does somehow take up to a couple more weeks, which I really don't think that it will, I guess in that type of scenario, maybe you'll have a couple of these projects like the Pudgies that end up getting bought up and start taking off earlier. But if it takes a few days, then I don't think that anything is going to outpace BTC. So I guess it's just a matter of, when the actual squeeze happens. Fidgetal, welcome up to the stage. How is it going today?
I'm good. Is my mic okay?
Yeah, mic is perfect.
Cool. I have multiple phone weird headphones to Bluetooth thing. I've been doing a lot of analysis because I do a lot of arb between crypto, money markets, and NFTs. My analysis thus far, and I'm always open and interested in hearing other people's perspective, is blue chip crypto, and we can call those the top 5, tend to follow money markets, especially tech money markets at the moment. There's also a general trend post the new year in terms of post taxes, Fed announcements. We saw that with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and another of the top, what I consider non-alts, following. Usually crypto only diverges from that in terms of free liquidity. So when we had government subsidies and stuff during COVID, extra cash, people are throwing that into crypto because of its correlation with traditional money markets and the opportunity for higher returns in gambling. I think that what we saw was an increase in ETH, Bitcoin. Those for me are interchangeable in terms of liquidity for Ethereum and some of the altcoins. I mean, NFT projects.
Let me stop you real quick.
Sure.
I won't lie. I'm a little bit lost on where you're heading with this. Like,
okay.
Just if you can reset kind of, what
sure.
what you're talking through.
Sure. I'm pretty sure that more divergent NFT projects are pumping right now because of the general liquidity increase of BTC and Ethereum in general. What I think would have been a bull because of January trends might not have the general pump that we usually see because we've diversified into multiple projects instead of consolidating into a few. So I foresee, unless BTC and Ethereum has a nice big pump, that will see large retracements in the NFT space, unfortunately.
Okay, so you're on the boat that if BTC has a big pump, that it absorbs the liquidity instead of the other way around. And hey, I mean, I respect the take, right? Like, I think it's something that people, should think through, that it definitely is a possibility. I mean, like I said, I feel that way with the rest of the alt market, but, altcoin with pictures, I still do think some of those charts right now look like they can break that trend. And the only reason that I'm really diving into that too is, thinking back to like whenever, the summer bounce back in 21, whenever ETH did take off the floor, BTC was pumping at the same time. Like, NFTs didn't sell off into that strength. So it's not something that happens every single time that you do see a strength in the USD price of these assets. So I don't expect a full-blown every single NFT collection across the thing takes off.
Think about your own decision making, right?
Blue chips can.
When do you decide whether you're going to take a flyer on a hype project and or sell off projects that you think might dive, and then consolidate either into blue chip projects or cash out, quote unquote, into a more predictable ETH, Bitcoin, or just cash, right? Your decisions are.
No. I'm exactly where. Yeah, I'm exactly on the same boat as you. Then, if that's what you're saying, then I'm exactly in the same boat. I feel like that's why I've got the space titled Blue Chip Season, because I think that it's going to be the blue chips that run, right? Like, basically, if it's not a blue chip, it doesn't. It's not going. Everything's going to be rotating into strength right now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's a very dangerous time for projects to be flirting with blue chip discussions. I mean, I'm a part of a kid called Beast. I love them. I think that it's a tough road ahead. I think it's a tough road ahead for anything that's made traditional or potentially artificial pumps, kilobears and other projects. At the end of the day, we got to think like ourselves, right? And what are we doing with when we're exposed to risk, right? We make a decision about where we're going to park that capital, whether and what we think is the safest. So it's really for me a balance of risk appetite, and I don't think that lasts much longer, in my opinion.
Fair enough, man. Yeah, but Bog, looking at it though, you asked the question, what do you think is going to take off first, Bitcoin or the pudgies? I mean, like one way or the other, the pudgies are like they're closing in on that 12K gap as far as the 12K USD all-time high. I really think, regardless of whatever happens first, I think they send whenever that happens, right? Like I don't think that it's just an effect of ETH going up and the ETH floor price going down. I think both end up sending with that psychological barrier finally being broken. And I really do think that, you're still going to have a rotation into quality with that. And, as the pudgies lift off, a bunch of the other ecosystems you've seen that have been strong, that have been running with it, have another leg too. Like I don't think in that process that you're going to have more of the degen type of shit like the Ponzi's and stuff.
No, that's why I called it. No, that was the last play. Yeah,
I want to argue the counter, Kaleo, if you wouldn't mind.
Let's hear it.
Do so. I think the more people make off of their blue chip trusted, I knew this was going to go upism, the more conviction they'll have moving around the market, and they'll probably be more willing to make degenerate plays. And that's when you start to see the bull market for the NFTs start to take off without the need for Bitcoin to be blasting off to instigate it. Because as soon as people start profiting off of the things that they held when everything went to fucking near zero, and people start taking that profit and rolling it into other stuff, exactly what you saw happen with Bonk. As soon as Bonk got airdropped to everybody and then everybody sold it for a maximum profit, every other thing in the area started pumping because now everybody's a genius and they got liquid again.
Fair enough, man. I mean, hey, like that would be even better, right? Like I would be perfectly fine with that. So what I do wonder, and I still think it has a chance to be the catalyst. A lot of people, I feel like I just haven't even heard a single conversation about the Blur airdrop coming up. But, we are closing in on, it's only a little over 2 weeks away right now. And I really think leading up to that Blur airdrop and immediately after it, you're going to see an increase in activity. One, as people continue to farm whatever the rewards are. Two, as people are anticipating, literally, it's just the anticipation of the drop too, right? Like, because, along with it, regardless of what it's worth, whether it's pennies or not, like there's going to be some type of value that's airdropped into NFT degen wallets. And what do NFT degens do with anything that's put in their wallets? They buy more NFTs. So
yeah, we could use a nice little airdrop. I mean, I don't know how nice it. Like again, I think everyone needs to temper their expectations what they think they're going to receive from Blur. But I don't know. It was a box opening simulator. I think Blur is awesome though. Honestly, I think the product is solid. Using it over the last couple of weeks, and the bids just provided a ton of liquidity, which has been super helpful. So I think I think that's why like you see like OpenSea like for major collections I just see like Blur listings like outpacing OpenSea like 2-1. It's like kind of crazy. I guess some collections like they don't. You can opt out of Blur because people were farming the airdrop. But if you're still looking to bid to place bids and stuff, I wouldn't even bother at this point.
It's mainly the royalty factor. People saving the extra percentages, being able to sell for like the same price, and take less of a loss whenever pretty much being able to undercut their own NFT from OpenSea.
Yeah, I think it's a combo of both, right? Like, I think that it's people farming, then also people, same things what Rooster's saying, where, if you can cut out part of whatever the royalty is on it, a lot of people are like, well, that's, whatever they can do to be able to pocket a little bit of extra ETH. So, yeah, man, I mean, it definitely is a combo of both. And, I still think, though, that the mechanics of it do drive a little bit more, but I'm curious to see how much of that do you think lasts after the Blur airdrop is over with?
I don't know, honestly. It really depends on how they improve their UI. Yeah, they have some cool tools, but like to advertise to be a platform for pro traders is pretty shite in my opinion. You can do like the mass collection bid walls and everything, but you can't bid on specific trades. The display and what's listed is also off a lot sometimes. So yeah, it's still a little rudimentary.
Crow, welcome up the stage, sir. How's it going?
Hey, thanks for having me. I just noticed that Rocket dude just bought another high return. It's like top 15 in the collection or something.
Oh shoot, I haven't had the chance. Let me see. I haven't been on the OpenSea page.
That guy like wants all the high returns or something. I don't know.
Dang, man, you did. Nice pickup, man. Let's see what it is.
What a collection.
426% return stock. That's not bad, man.
And it's purple, too.
You've been finding a way to do it. Yeah, I don't know how you've been finding a way to do it, man, but you have been just stacking grails lately.
I'm going for it. I had to sell one and scrounge up all the ETH I had, but it was sitting there. Wasn't far from the floor. Had to do it.
Congrats, man. It's a solid snag. I'm going to pin it up here whenever the bot ends up dropping it here in a second.
Well, hey,
see if it's already up.
Have you heard the space room 110 did with Volt?
Shoot, dude, did I miss that?
Apparently.
Oh my goodness, I hate myself for missing it. Yes, but I know I haven't yet, and I want to check it out. I really wanted to go to that. I had the reminder set. I don't know how I freaking missed that.
I think you'll enjoy it from a founder's perspective, all the stresses he's gone through and all the moving parts that project has, and how this project doesn't have any of them. I was thinking about you and the two different paths, and something to think about.
No, I definitely will take a look. I mean, do you mind giving me a TLDR or Rooster? I guess I'm sure you were in there also.
Yeah, it was like, shit, almost like a 3-hour space. He got his times mixed up and wanted to keep extending it like 2 or 3 times. So there really is no TLDR to be honest. It's we go over pretty much anything and everything.
Yeah, B-Ways actually just wrote up a long review. I'll post that to the top.
I mean, that's awesome that he spent 3 hours with y'all. How many listeners were in on that?
I think max at one point was like 400 something.
No way. That's so
but
awesome,
I didn't
man.
look at the after, like how many listens there were after.
Freaking love to hear it for the Room 110 crew. Guys, if you aren't following Room 110, check out Rooster's profile, and he has it pinned up there in it. Go give them a follow. They only interview quality people with quality questions, so definitely worth a listen and worth a follow if you have not yet.
Is it Rooster and 80s project?
I mean, Rooster,
both of us are co-founders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, both of us are co-founders, but it was actually it spawned from Wonky Stonks.
Dude, your spaces are amazing. I just wanted to say that while everyone's here. Like, I've been listening to them over the past week. They're really fucking awesome. They're very interesting and informative.
Yeah, we appreciate that. The guys they try to do things differently, right? Because a lot of founders, when they go on tours and projects and stuff, it's pretty much like the same space that gets repeated over and over and over again. So try to format it a little bit differently. Keep it go a little bit deeper, keep it a little more live, right? But so essentially, yeah, Room 110 was founded out of Wonky Stonks. There's some me, 80s, Cube, Graphite, Willy Wonka, Lone Wick, AO, B-Ways, Breath, Magna, and Vlad. We are all collectively co-founders of Room 110, and that's what kind of we've been working on for quite a few months now. Just been organically growing and trying to build bridges between projects.
Yeah, and I mean the thing with why am I blanking on his name? Volt. I mean, that's huge, man. Like the fact that B-Ways was able to secure that is pretty incredible. But I mean, I guess it also speaks to Volt and then just his character for being able to, reach out to the community, want to do those spaces with the people that are in the community as well. So love seeing him back on the scene. I will definitely turn that on and listen to it in the background as I do some other stuff. Whenever I'm not hosting one of these spaces, at least. Christine, welcome up to the stage. How are you doing tonight? Christine usually rugs at least once as far as, the reply up on stage. So I'll give that to her. I know she's going to come through in the next one. We're going to go ahead and kick it over to our favorite evening Aussie / I guess morning, whatever it is for you over there. Bluntman, how is it going?
Yeah, dog, gone well. Afternoon over here, loving life, beautiful sunny Australia. On my way home from work, just feeling the vibes, man, feeling good, feeling fucking bullish as hell. Waiting for that God candle, trying to gather a few more stonky stonks, but that's life, bro. Just going to chime in on the convo when and where I can, and yeah, love your spaces, man. It's good. And I'll have to catch that space too, Bruce. So that's actually a sick idea, dude. And I love the ethos of what you said when you'd finished there about excuse me, about just trying to bridge, different communities together. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, man. It's about community and building that love and trust for one another and the culture. So positive vibes and up only, man. Love it.
Yes, sir. I mean, and right now too, like I think we're still seeing a little bit of that. I don't know. The market's just in a limbo right now. As long as Bitcoin's just sitting here, chilling where it is, I think everything is kind of just in a limbo before it ends up making whatever that next move is. So, like whether we've got to be patient another few days or another couple of weeks, I really think that things are going to pick up there closer to the Blur airdrop. I'm curious though, what other things are you looking for right now, Bog? And, what is your, kind of outlook as far as the next few months as well on the NFT space?
Oh man, I mean, I think we're still just going to keep following, macro and whatever BTC and ETH does, and we'll probably have, another leg up like after this. I mean, I hope we get that God candle. That'll be so epic. That'll be perfect for everything else. But it just rotates. It happened, and the rotations get faster and faster. So like now we had about 2 weeks of like absolute dog shit just sending, right? And then now I think the money, the profits from that or whatever is going to go back to blue chips. We're going to see those send. Something like the Pudgies hopefully will lead the charge, and we'll probably do that again at some point. But and I think, and then we're going to get to the mania phase where everything sends all at once, which is going to be absolutely chaotic. But dude, you said it before, man. I'm looking for when Litecoin starts pumping. I think that's when I start just de-risking from NFTs too. I think that's just a sign from, for like when we gotta go. Like I still get like Litecoin notifications. I don't know why of like the algorithm. Like I was never a Litecoin maxi. I think there was like 1 week in like the end of 2020 where I was like I bought Litecoin before like the 20K breakout, like, and it outperformed BTC for like a very short, but I still like get like notifications, and there's like this one guy who just keeps like writes like memos, like post-it notes, and he's just like, Litecoin is going to go to 12,000. And I'm just like, oh my God, why is this still appearing on my feed? I'm paying $32 to Elon. I have to pay more now to just change my name. There's a secret plan where you get to change your name more than like once a week. No, I'm joking, but like for real, like it's crazy. But I think we're gonna send. It's gonna be fun, but um, again, like when it gets super crazy. I mean, we saw the McDonald's wag me post today. That was a little worrisome, but I don't know. Like we can write that off. I don't think that's on the cringe meter. That's not really too high. I think we can just keep
Well, it
going.
was in a reply, right? Like it was in a reply in a thread. So I'll, if they just made it their slow tweet, if they were bold enough to do that, then I think it would definitely be the kind of top signal that we're talking about. But they didn't, so I feel okay about it. Bluntman, what's up?
Yo, man. So what do we think? I like your analysis there, Bogfather. Just what's the feel in the room about, Gemini? It was almost like Gemini announcing and filing for bankruptcy was like a trigger for the market to go, fuck yeah,
Yeah,
that's what we've been
that
waiting
was
for. Fuck the wheat supply, off we go. Why?
yeah,
How? Why? How
Bluntman.
does that?
Dude, that reminds me of like 2019, and like Clay, you keep showing that fractal of like we were at like a little over 4K and we sent, like that was like, remember when Binance got hacked, and that was like I was talking about this for like months, and I'm like, this, if you want to look for a bottom, look for when bad news stops affecting the market. Barry going under, like, and the whole Gemini thing, and we're just like kind of YOLOing and buying JPEGs, and fucking like Aptos is going up 500%. Like that is a clear bottom signal for whatever, short term, midterm, whatever you want. Like like Jack was talking, we had a 200-day moving average, like a golden cross. Like we're clearly bullish for the time being. Like it's probably a bear market rally, but and the people, it's like anything else. Like it's always the people that aren't open minded, or the people that are not able to like shift their mindset, that lose, that just can't, or that need to be right, like the intellectuals or whatever it is. Those people are in the middle of the bell curve for a reason. The bell curve is real. It's not. It's like a meme, because like any other joke, half of it, it's half true. And those people are not good at adapting. They probably go to like Starbucks and get the same shit every day. They probably like bang their girl in the same position every day, or like maybe like once every other like week. Let's be honest, if they even have a girlfriend. So those guys can't adjust. They're going to get left behind, and they're probably going to long 40K while we're dumping into there. So we're going to go on like a nice 6-month vacation or whatever. So that's really kind of what's going to happen. It's diagonal season, like diagonal line season. Just watch everything, send shit post, have fun, make money, get hilariously rich with the boys. That's what it's about.
I agree, man. I also think it's like, as much as it's about that, I also think it's also about looking long term too, and then looking out. Hey, there's going to be a lot of opportunity in this, right? But like you said, Bogfather, I think it's a bear market rally, so it's not going to be something that lasts like a year plus. I think it's really just the first half of this year, so there's some opportunity in that. But the real window of opportunity, I think, is still positioning yourself this entire year for what's going to be coming 2024, 2025. Like that's leading into the halving. That's where you typically see the most fun start to take off. And I don't think that, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, the halving's going to be there, Bitcoin's immediately going to skyrocket to a new all-time high. I think it probably doesn't until late 2024, early 2025, and the halving's in March of 2024, which is crazy that it's coming up on, closing in on a year away. But it is getting closer, right? So thinking about that, like thinking back to the last halving in May of 2020, what was happening around that time, right? Well, you were getting a bunch of bounces off the base. Bitcoin was, I guess, bouncing back after the COVID crash. You had, let's see what else. I mean, everything else was kind of bouncing back. but the stock market was actually outpacing Bitcoin. Bitcoin was relatively boring there for a little while. That entire summer, it was relatively boring. But if you looked outside of it, you saw a new sector emerge, and that was the DeFi market, right? Like the DeFi started just popping off left and right. And DeFi summer made a lot of people hilariously rich. So I think you're going to have that same type of opportunity there at the beginning / mid 2024, whenever Bitcoin's still relatively boring. That's when you'll really have the opportunity to capitalize on whatever the new trend is. Neb, what's going on?
How goes it, everybody? Happy Thursday, wherever we are. Does anybody remember like where they were during the halvening? Because I remember very distinctly getting an oil change and watching, because this oil change took forever for whatever reason, and watching the countdown until like the block was mined and we officially were there. So I don't know. I got a kick out of that. Crazy to think that the next one is a year away, like you were saying, Kaleo. And honestly, like, how do we define something as a blue chip? I mean, obviously, like Bitcoin, Ethereum are things to position ourselves in. With NFTs, I guess it's also kind of strange, or I don't know, hard to figure out what is a blue chip before something like hits a 1 ETH floor, you know? So, yeah, I also like what you were saying about positioning yourself well for 24, 25. I would love to hire a mariachi band while I quit my job and have them come and play as I am dramatically quitting. Not like because I want to quit my job or anything like that, but just goals for the top of the next cycle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Neb,
Aim
I
high.
had those same thoughts, bro, when I was like an actual like wage cuck and before like I got into crypto. I'm like, oh shit. I mean, if I ever like if I won like the lottery, I'd fucking just be like go to my boss, just flip her off and just like walk out. We all have those thoughts. And now I'm still like wage cucking because like I still haven't made it, but I like don't give a shit. I'm like silently quitting. I do like I'm like fucking Peter from Office Space, if you've ever seen that movie. I do absolutely no work. Like just nothing. Nothing. I like literally like oversee a team from like India that does all my work and I do no work. And like I'm like, yeah, I tell my boss, like, yeah, I'm like just monitoring them and I'm just like delegating stuff. I don't even know what I do anymore. I'm like literally shit posting all day. But I mean,
That is fucking awesome.
but that's like what you need to find, man. You got to find your niche, man. You got to find like that's working smarter, not harder, right? Because like you're working for some company that you know what I mean. It doesn't matter unless you're like in a job where you actually have to pay attention. You know what I mean? Like 90% of jobs, you really don't have to apply like much effort. Like really, unless you're like a doctor or fucking, doing something like a firefighter, if you're like running into a burning building, you got to be engaged. I don't think you can't really half-ass that, right? But you know, like I don't know. At the end of the day, like you'll be fine, man. Don't think about quitting your job. Just and like Kaleo said, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Don't slide the fucking leverage to the left. All right, stop being a degenerate right now. You don't want to get like knocked out, and you're not getting rich with the boys because you just want to have a little bit too much fun. Like just chill out.
Neb, the day you quit your job is the day that the market tops. Like, actually, I take that back. Probably about a month before it tops, right? You're going to have confidence. You're going to steamroll that confidence into a few more wins. And that's the danger thing. It isn't just that you quit. It's that after you quit, you're going to have another few weeks of just like hilarious FU money, making zero mistakes. You're going to think it was a God tier decision because you can't miss anything at that point. And that's when the top is, right? Like it's not just after you made the decision to quit, because when you make the decision to quit, you're still probably a little bit nervous. You're confident, but you're a little bit nervous. But when the market really F's you is when you are so confident that nothing could happen, that you are in a solid position. It's going to rock you into that little boat, rock you into the cradle, and then you're going to fall asleep. Next thing you know, you're going to wake up and be like, fuck, like, are they going to be able to hire me again? And they won't, because you did show up with the mariachi band. And
don't burn any bridges, dog. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Dude, at the end of the day,
guys...
what are you gonna do with all that time, Neb? Like for real. Like I'm not gonna lie, like unless you're like fucking actually doing shit and you're like engaged and you like force yourself to do shit, like you're gonna get bored, man. Video games suck. Like I always thought, like I was like a pro gamer at some point. I was like, oh, I could just do this my whole life. I'm like, no, these things, it just sucks. Like, I don't want to smoke weed all day. Like, what ambitions do I have? So it's like, yeah, you can manage a job and you could do the other thing. Like, really, it's not too hard. And it's like you have the security. Like, this is a hot take, but if you have like a cushy job where you can work from home and it's not like, you can kind of wing and do other stuff. Like my girlfriend's like is a designer right now, and she has like multiple jobs, and it's like she works less than me and makes like 3 times like the amount of money because she's like just juggling shit. Like it's like the work from home meta is like actually where you could be milking shit. That's like the plus EV play, where you can just work 3 jobs 40 hours a week. I'm telling you, if you're like a graphic designer, like you gotta find like what your niche, dude. You gotta find your beach, and you gotta just fucking milk that shit. Like you're like a yield farmer, But again, like don't think quitting is like freedom. You're gonna be bored, man. Like
No,
I don't like.
so 100%. Okay, so like real quick, I actually love my job. Like I was just like saying that as like an example of like the kind of aspirations and shit. And like I've thought about a mariachi band since I was like delivering pizzas as a way to quit. So like that's just like, I don't know. I've always thought that shit was fucking hilarious. No, I definitely absolutely appreciate the life advice about like not leaving your job at the top of the market and being a fucking idiot. Like I'm that is 100,000% not the goal. Like the goal is to be figures liquid and that I feel like that should be everybody's goal, and we set
Nah,
that
that's
goal
too,
high.
dude. Honestly, like 8 figures is like probably enough unless you're like a
100%.
degenerate.
100%, but you aim high, and there's no number between 8 and 9, and 8 figures is like absurd, stupid money. But like, why not go even
Yo,
further?
Neb, let me just pause you because I literally was in that boat last bull run. So before you think, man, like teleporting to 8 figures was easy, so fuck it, why not 9? I literally was in that boat, right? Like,
Yo, I'm not saying
Dude,
easy.
and I'm
I'm
just
not saying
saying
easy.
the
I'm
teleportation to
saying if you
9
go out
wasn't as
there,
easy as what I thought it was going to be.
dude. At least you weren't Alex Weiss, dog. He tried
That,
going from 9 to 10, and then he went to 0.
and I know several others that went from 9, tried to go from 9 to 10 to 0, right? Like, decent peep, right? Like he's another example. You can go down a list of, I mean, heck, Suzu and Kyle, right? Like, why not just throw fucking 3AC into the mix while we're at it? I mean, hey, why not one up it one more time? I mean, apparently $50 billion wasn't enough, so
Yeah,
fuck
11.
it. Let's throw Caroline Ellison, Sam Tobacco, and SBF into the mix. Like, fuck it. We can keep going to the examples, Neb, of once you reach a certain level that it's just easy. No. Set a goal, be content with it, and just, be done.
Yeah,
no,
dude. Like
okay,
when
so
you're done, no,
100%.
You need a plan, Neb. I'm telling you, this is like we're just spin facts because we're older than you, probably, right? So listen, I got a dog during COVID. Like I'm gonna tie this in very shortly. Like I was like, oh, this is really awesome. Like when growing up, I didn't have a dog. Like my family was like, they're all germaphobes and shit. They're like, you can't have a fucking pet. You're not gonna take care of this thing anyway. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. I was like fucking lazy and shit. So got a dog during COVID. Awesome. I love dogs now. I want to open up a dog shelter like when I'm done, when I have nothing to do. Like that's something I like that'll take up my time, and it's something like I think that'll give me like, a sense of like purpose. Like where I'm not just gonna be sitting in front of a screen or like fucking tweeting 12 hours a day. Like it's like something where I'm like, okay, I'm doing something good. So you need to find that thing too, not only making the money, but find something. Doesn't just that'll like consume your time and it'll be like something positive where you won't like descend back into degeneracy.
No, no doubt. And this is very awesome life advice that I sincerely appreciate, and I'm sure everybody else here does. No, okay, so the reason I aimed high is because the goal is always aim high. You can always do one more than you did last time. You know, like one more rep, one more push up, one more whatever. So that's like my only reason for throwing out crazy things.
Not
But yeah,
yeah, yeah. No, that's not just for you specifically, dog. This is just general advice. You know, for
But
just
hey,
like it's just like
I was just gonna say, Bog, like on the real though, Ned, it is okay. Like dreaming big is good, right? It is okay to dream big. I'm not saying not to dream big. I think dreaming big, can really challenge you to yourself. But the thing that I want to say is, whatever you think is big right now, right? Like just be careful moving those goalposts, because if you work hard enough, you're going to get there. And it's whenever you get there and you start moving the goalposts that you start putting yourself into trouble.
yeah,
no,
and
one
don't
hundred.
don't like don't adjust to your means to your new means until you're like there, until you're like shit's in your bank for real, for real. Don't live off your fucking unrealized gains like a boss. Like it's unrealized until that shit's realized. Don't buy a new place. Don't buy that car. Don't do that stupid shit. Like don't be that idiot posting like a new whip on Twitter that they don't that they're gonna have to sell, you know, 2 weeks later. So like
Nah,
it's
don't
just
buy it. Don't buy it unless you have the cash and the cash to buy another one in the bank.
let's go. You got a little pudgy though, dog. So you'll be okay. You're on the right path.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my friend. Hey, I've been looking at those Ponzi's, man, that you've been tweeting
No,
about.
no, no, no. We're not. No, no. We're not looking at those anymore. No, don't do it. No, no more Ponzi's.
Bog,
Hold
Bog,
like
are you saying it's over
yeah.
for the
Look at the
singing
name of
gigs,
the
bro?
space, sir. Look at the name of the space and look at my wallet activity. I bought 80 stonks last night. Like we're going we're going to quality. I'm done. Like the thing is, there's another thing I've learned too. Like I do have a little bit of a gambling addiction at times. I keep myself in check. I have my own safeguards in place. A lot of you motherfuckers don't. But you got to learn, like when when you make mistakes, that don't do it again. So I force myself to be a liquid sometimes. And what I did was like, you know what? Kaleo's a good guy. Let me force myself to be a liquid in his shit. Like that's just my thesis. And you know, it's gonna pay off, and I'm not gonna sell because this is it. Like this is what like you asked actually to tie it all back. You asked like what a blue chip project is. It's the community. It's not just the floor price. Floor price is part of it. But look at some of these things, man. Boombird's like you mint that like 2.5 ETH and you go to 40 ETH like that. Like they're giving you fanny packs. Who gives a fuck about that? Like here, you got a solid group of guys, like networking, everything, like the vibes, like it's the people, the connections, like the alpha, everything, like is part of that. And I think that is what people don't get. What Web3 is, it's the intangible stuff. It's not bullshit. It's not a meme. Like it literally is why this is a thing and no one can understand it. Why can't I grasp it? Because tangible value, like that's the only thing people can grasp. You know what I mean? It's like, someone like a magician comes up to you and like does a trick. It's like, oh, how did you do that? It's just like that's like people think like that's what's happening. We're just getting hilariously rich, and why is this happening? It's like you have social, like these are like social clubs, you know what I mean? And like that's the value. And like what's Kaleo's done like over the last like 16 months or so with the Wonkies is pretty cool. And like people have been showing up. If you weren't there, man, we were having tiny ass spaces. Even on his main account, we'd have like 60 people. Like in like the depths of the summer, it was fucking dark, man. Like there was just nothing to talk. Everyone was just depressed. We were all poor. You know what I mean? And we just stuck around, and it actually wasn't that bad. It could have been much worse.
Yeah, I was
Um,
going to say, like, but the spaces were always positive, right? Like, like the market itself, for, like the market may have been dark, but I think the beautiful thing about the spaces were that we were able to just kind of laugh off whatever was going on, right? Like, it was just one of those things where, like, all right, like, it is what it is, but, we're here, we're going to keep showing up and, confident that eventually that'll get us somewhere. Sorry, I thought I was unmuted there. Shekinah, welcome back. You've got your hand up. What's going on?
what's up, what's up? Still following those tweets and, like, yeah, drinking the Kool-Aid, waiting for this 30K ETH potentially. But no, my question was more around, and you guys are kind of touching on it now. It's just like, where do you see a lot of these quote unquote blue chip NFT projects, in 2024? We have what is it, oh my God, Doodles buying the animation studio. And I'm like, okay, but is that their play to develop another stream of revenue? Kind of cross over into Web 2. You also have Doodles moving over to Flow or creating a new collection of Doodles for Flow. You have some other, I think Pudgy Penguins or the little Pudgies are going over to, to Polygon. And now you have Amazon. I mean, you just have a lot of things going on. So just where do you see the blue chips, your Moonbirds, your CloneX, I guess Azuki, and whoever else you would consider a blue chip? Where do you see them in 2024?
So I think that not every single project that's considered a blue chip right now will still be a blue chip in 2024. And I think that there are some projects right now that are not considered blue chips that will be considered blue chips in 2024. And it's just all about how the community and the project is managed, right? Like, I'm trying to think of some projects off the top of my head that were considered blue chips at one time, but like really aren't anymore.
Cool Cat.
Yeah,
Cool
that's
Cats,
the first one
right?
that popped up to my head.
Maybe World of Women, right? Like World of Women was a 10 ETH plus floor. I think it's under 2 right now. And again, not to say that none of these can come back, but the road ahead of them just, I don't think is as easy as some projects that are already at their highs and kind of pushing forward right now.
Yeah. It's all about the thing, like the projects you mentioned. It's like a lot of VC stuff, a lot of like mega influencer stuff. Like the reason why I'm bullish on the stonks, it was like pretty organic, man. Like you got to look for that in the space, and I'm not just trying to like push my own like my bags, and
I mean, you can push your bags. I'm fine with that, Bob.
Yeah. No, but you got to look for, you got to have an eye for like, okay, like what. Like the Pudgies too. Like I was there in the trenches. Like I was literally buying the bottom. Like I was like I doubled down, and I just because like I got a little bit lucky, honestly, because Luca took over. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's if he didn't take over, we'd be screwed. But like sometimes that you just need a little bit of luck. Like like that's just what it's about. But the community was strong, and that's the reason why he bought it in the first place. So there was something there. It just needed a change in management, and that's not a big issue when you have good IP. But that's what you got to look for. It's like you stop being obsessed over the floor price. That'll come. That'll eventually happen. It's just people are just rushing, and that's the thing. That's why I keep buying so many of these friggin' stonks, because I'm like the floor. It's not reflected. Like CT has not adopted NFTs yet. Not even close. They're like slowly trickling in. Like even Kaleo. It's so funny. We all thought he was late in like the summer of last year, right? If you were in NFTs, but it's like some motherfuckers are like not even still like not there yet. Like it has not clicked, and I get it. Like but like Kaleo can adapt. Like some people take a little bit longer to adapt, and then you have the people that just won't do it. And we had that talk already, but you got to look for the other things, the intangible stuff, and that's probably the best kind of metric. And you have to have your own like kind of like check the box things to look for projects and make your own kind of like thing to your own like kind of criteria for like selecting what is a blue chip. But those are the things I look for, at least.
Yeah, I'm trying to find like the Smokey tweet from earlier, Smokey Asada, where he is a CT guy through and through, right? And I haven't talked to him about the stonks one time. He gave it a shout out earlier, saying that he minted a couple and he was just casually sitting on them, and just shouted out everything about like the way that everything happened with it. And I'm telling you, there's so many people on the CT side of things that are larger accounts that have the stonks that are involved in the project that just, it's one of those things where, because it's not like, a huge thing in CT right now, that they're quiet, but I want to say dormant is a better word, right? Because everybody has a certain level where a bag that they have, where they feel enough pride in it, where they're like, hey, I stuck around, like that they want to flex it, right? And I'm telling you, the stocks will be at that point. Like it's just a matter of when and what those stages are. But like I'm telling you, man, like there are a lot of those catalysts that are in place as certain milestones are reached down the road. I'm going to go to King Wabi, and then we'll go to Shekinah.
What's going on, man? I totally forgot what I was going to say. I had it at the tip of my tongue. I think it was when Bog was talking. Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, speaking about the summertime, I remember those spaces, man. It was him and Hash and his crowd. And, yeah, dude, those summer spaces where in the trenches, bro, there was only really a handful of us that were still optimistic about the future, you know, especially after everything that happened in June. But, you know, thankfully we made it out the other side, and this whole FTX thing wasn't as wild as people thought about, dude. Like, even last week, right, with Genesis announcing Chapter 11, we pumped off of that, man. And, like, even if you had bought, like, any of these DeFi things or some NFTs last week, like, you did a pretty good number, man. So I'm thinking we're back, dude. I'm thinking we're back, and it's great to be here with you guys. And Kaleo, it's great to be here again with you in another foodie space, bro. So what's up next, man? Chicken NFTs, what are we talking about?
Bro, I may have not taken a gummy tonight versus last night, so I don't know if the conversation will roll in that same direction. You know, I know Rooster and 80s, I think we're on, another level than I was. And like, I think that's what kind of ended up having the conversation evolve into donuts. And what else was it, Rooster? Pizza.
Donuts and pizza.
We had like an hour-long conversation about the blue chip donuts and pizza.
Actually, he had made a whole art movement.
Oh yeah, I forgot that we made a whole art movement in the process. But yeah, like I think we've got a ways in us in the evening before it evolves into that. But you never know. Shekinah, what's going on?
Yeah, so this is maybe a little bit changing the subject, but I have to get your opinion on this. What do you think about the people, and I'm going to say like me, who are invested, bought some Coinbase, like shares, kind of trying to prepare, for the next bull cycle. What do you think about, I guess, crypto related stocks?
Yeah, honestly, like I think Coinbase down here probably was a pretty good buy if you bought it in the last couple of months. Let me see. I haven't looked at the price, but I'm just thinking based on the sentiment and where the chart is. I mean, everything, especially after like all the exchange FUD that was out there. I mean, they were probably pretty dang oversold. So if you bought it the last few weeks, especially like anything after the FTX incident, you probably are going to do pretty well as a longer term hold. I don't think the Coinbase is going to go away. I mean, heck, you could probably even scalp it this year for double what it is right now if Bitcoin takes off with it. So, it's a pure proxy type play off of Bitcoin, but I am bullish on Bitcoin, so I would be bullish on those as well. But yeah, I will say this too. Usually, there's a little bit of a higher decay. I guess it just depends on the market conditions. Some of the time with those type of plays, you expect them to perform exactly like in line with Bitcoin, and they don't. I mean, occasionally you might get a pure degen type run, like what happened after the lows of March of 2020, and a lot of those companies just went wild. But on average, I've seen Bitcoin outpace those companies. But again, I mean, yeah, if you bought the lows in the past few weeks, I think you're fine.
Yeah, no, I definitely did. And I mean, I feel like I want to kind of like sell, maybe half of it into this, bull cycle, because I don't know what's going to happen next week with the whole Fed announcement, with if they're going to, fund anything. But like, I keep like hoping, I'm like, will Coinbase do a, like a stock split? Like, I would love for them. So I'm like, do I want to hold enough in case they do that? And I don't know if they will, but I'm like, gosh, can they just do it so I can have even more? But I don't know if they will.
Yeah, I don't know, Bogfather. What's up? You got to take off? I think he did take off. All right. Yeah, no, I have no idea. I mean, but yeah, I think it's definitely worth a hold, especially until BTC breaks higher from here. So, yeah, taking profits is never a bad idea. So, if there's a point where you feel like you've made enough to take some profits, definitely do that. BTC Art, what's up, man?
Hey, it's good to be on another space. And I just want to say thank you for continuing to host these. Like, goes back to the founder thing. You just keep delivering and you keep showing up. And that's part of what matters. Like, it's a big deal. I just wanted to say this as I was listening. Like, I started with this archetypal idea on NFTs, and then we saw it move into this cute, which I think I was ahead of my time. That's the only thing I'll say about me. But I'm a boomer, so who knows? And then we moved into the cute, right? And then we've moved into the founder, and I think that's where we're finding these blue chips is founders like you. There's a few others, and it's because of their consistency and just resilience through the bear, everything else. But I really think that the meta, the forward thinking is going to be community based, because we have so many opportunities to actually connect with people. You can see in these communities, and I've heard it throughout the different spaces, people talking about like I was in this community and it was giving me anxiety. It was giving me blah blah blah. It was giving me blah. If you're in a community and when you have a win, regardless of whether it's your NFT or another NFT, if they're not excited for you or celebrating you as an individual because you made a gain, then you're in the wrong community. Like who is it you call when something amazing happens, right? That's your best friend because they're going to celebrate with you. So if you're in a community that is part of an NFT project, and you can't jump in there and go, listen, guys, I just killed it on a trade, or I just killed it on a foot pick, or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. And they're not happy for you, you're in the wrong community. Because I think the community, going all the way back to since art has been art, the community decides the value of art. And people want to see each other win when they're good people. And good people connect to good people who connect to good people who connect to good people. And eventually you find a blue chip because everyone wants what's best for the other person. And for those of you who have not found a space that's like that, I'm telling you, Wonky is like that. The Wonky space is, I don't think you even have to hold one. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kaylee. Do you have to hold one to get into the Discord?
No, I mean there are certain channels that are holder locked, but the bulk of where the conversation happens on the GA feed isn't.
So it's not token gated. You can just get in and ask a question. You can get in and just be a part of the community, and you'll see it's good people celebrating good people and being excited, because that's what we have to have during the bear. Like, I think those are the communities that become the blue, whatever that means, but the blue chip of the next bull run. Because how insane is it going to be when you've got nobody fudding, everyone celebrating good things while they're happening, and you've got a place to go to celebrate that good thing, and for people to remind you, you know what? Make sure let's take some gains this round. Let's let's give back this round. Let's do this thing that's good for our neighbor this round. Like, I think the next bull is just incredible, and we should be aligning ourselves with the right communities as far as NFTs are concerned, because that's all art is. And I'll check out from here. I just wanted to say my little piece, but you're not going to find a better one than Wonky's. Love and light, guys.
Bro, I love having you up here, man. You fire me up every single time that you come up here. Really do. But I mean, it is about the community at the end of the day, right? Where that feels like such an overplayed thing, but there's so many other projects that you can go into. And I think you can tell pretty quickly if a project is like how toxic it is based on whatever the sentiment and the conversation around the community rotates. You can tell whether it's a culture that's going to last or whether it's not. Because at the end of the day, the community of people that are invested in the project, they're invested in the collection, they're the ones that really determine where it goes, right? So if you don't have a community that is supportive of each other, that is active, then one, you're not going to be able to have any reach, but two, you're not going to be able to have any staying power either.
I think it's funny when people with like fat bags of something are in their own Discord and they're like, fuck this, blah, 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 I'm about to list everything, and like, fudding their own bags into the ground. Like, the thought process on some people just doesn't make sense.
1,000%. And so I'm officially put a pin in it. We're moving from not just the founder theory now we're moving into community theory. And that's what's going to carry us through the next bull, through the next bear, through the bull after that, through the bear after that, through the bull after that. Then our grandkids are going to be in the community.
BTC,
be insane.
I just want to clarify, though, like both of what you said right there, neither of them are the new theories. Like they are the patient theories that have paid off. Because again, going back to this summer, when you look at the pudgies, you look at the pandas, you look at the plague, you look at the seals, a bunch of these projects that we've named that have all done very well recently. What do they all have in common? They've got solid communities and they've got solid leaders that have all stuck around, that have been active, that have been there and been present. But, a lot of people, for them, that's not enough in the moment because they want an immediate whatever return, but you can look and see how it's played out on a longer time frame.
1,000%. And let me just say, I wouldn't say seals, but I would say, and I think Pons would even agree, it's because of the I don't want to give Wonkies that much credit, but I just remember Cube. I remember people in the early days were like, hey, I think this project's got some fire to it. Let's go. And then you see people like AO and Rooster and Cube and B-Way and all these other people that are like, you know what? I'm gonna mint it, but I'm not just gonna mint it. I'm gonna celebrate it. I'm gonna participate in it. I'm going to help be a part of the community. And I think not just them, but I think all good people eventually meet. And they when you find something amazing, all you want to do is tell your friends about it. Right? Not dump on your friends. You want to tell your friends about it, and you want to see each other come up together, and you want to help build too. And that's part of that whole community theory as well. Is like, all right, not only are we gonna, pump, we're not pumping whatever, we're building, and we're excited to see it happen as it happens. I don't do much because I don't know how to do much except. Whenever you make a call, I just, hit buy and set a stop loss and a take profit. By the way, people, that is the thing that I think that's one of my biggest goals is to make sure that I if I don't journal it, I'm not buying it. That's my new thing for 2024. If I am not willing to write it down and journal it, I'm not buying it. And I don't know if that's alpha or if that's idiocy. It's just my own thing. But looking ahead to next year and getting excited about it, I think if you're not willing to take the time to put a pencil on a piece of paper and say, I'm buying and I'm selling, you shouldn't buy it. All right. Love and light, guys. I'm out. I'm so grateful for this community. It means the world to me, like more than you guys know. And yeah, peace.
Oh, thanks for coming up, man. Like I said, always appreciate having you up here. Let's kick it over to Shoot. Shoot, what's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up, Kaleo? I can't thank you enough just for your constant, advice and everything you've been doing for the space recently and, for years. And I cannot thank you enough. I just wanted to say one thing. I've been, listening to these spaces, trying to get into as many spaces as I can, including yours. The one thing that I've heard, emphasized the most is that we're just very early. And I really didn't take the time to think about that till today. I was in my economics lecture in college, and my teacher randomly he went to a slide, and the slide started off saying, "Is Bitcoin money?" And everyone was just like looking at him like he's crazy, and he goes, "No, Bitcoin is not money." I just smirked and I chuckled, whatever. And then right after that, he asked the entire class, which is about 70 to 80 students, who here owns Bitcoin or owns cryptocurrency in general. And I was expecting 10, 20, 30 people. There was, including myself, there was about 4 people who raised their hand, and I was just shocked with the outcome. Like with I'm in these spaces all day, and I think there's so many people involved in the NFT and Web3 and crypto space, which there are. But when you're in this on Twitter constantly, you only see it from like one side. I kind of saw it from a different side today with the average student or the average person just looking in from the outside in, not just on Twitter spaces all day or looking at NFTs. And we're definitely still early, including my generation. I thought there were a lot more people involved than there really are, at least from that examination. And you hit it on hit the nail on the head with that, how early we are. We have so much room to grow.
I'm curious, man. Like, I appreciate that perspective. I love hearing that type of perspective and those type of stories. So, do you mind sharing what year you're in, like at your university? Because I'm like curious, especially if you're like freshman, whatever. A lot of the times, one of the things that I've noticed with people that are in high school or even in college, especially earlier on, they might be interested in investing, but it's a lot more difficult to actually follow through because you don't have that constant stream of income to be able to do it. So any money that you do have, a lot of the time, like my friends back in the day, it was okay. Like, what drinks can I buy? What food can I buy? Whatever else, basically the essentials, right? So, I'm just kind of curious. Like later on, after people work internships, sometimes they have the money to be able to set aside, or maybe they've got a side hustle and they've been doing it the whole time. But that's just kind of the way that I generally profile. So yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. I'm in my 3rd year of college. And I have an internship now, and thankfully I have an income, a passive income. So, I'm just trying to put money on the side, invest. But from what I see from my university, most of these students, my age, older, even younger, they have internships, they have jobs, and I know that because they talk to the teachers, during class, after class, they say, we don't have time to finish this assignment in 2 days, 3 days. We have a job to attend to. We have this. I'm not saying everyone has a job. Obviously, it's not the easiest thing to find a job, but I just think most of these students are spending their money, and this generation is spending their money recklessly instead of looking at other investment ideas. And once they see like the crypto and the Web3 opportunities out there, they'll definitely, the space will just grow even more and more.
Oh, definitely, man. And I'm telling you, though, that's one of the largest demographics that is really yet to be infiltrated. But I think so much of it just goes back to the total capitalization and the total like mindset of what people are looking at. But I mean, it does show you that like there's a lot of potential. And I really do think, especially from the NFT side of things, because I think when I think what would resonate the most with a college kid, I really think a digital collectible makes a lot more sense to a college kid than just an average coin makes to a college kid. Um, but the fact that you guys are even talking about Bitcoin, I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess whenever I went to college, like Bitcoin was barely invented, so nobody even really knew about it back
Right,
then.
right,
But
right.
I mean, so I love the fact that like it actually is a normal topic of conversation. So I
So
am curious
just
though, like
to
what else did he say about it?
So he really didn't like. Of course, he didn't. It was the first day of classes, so he didn't really go into it much. He just said like the next couple classes will explain why Bitcoin is not considered money. He kind of explained why it's not money because it's just very volatile, which I understand. But he actually asked the class, "What do you guys, what's your definition of money?" I was kind of being like facetious with him when I said I'm like it's paper backed by the government, and then he looked at me with like a kind of weird face. He's like it's paper and currencies backed by the government. Was kind of contradicting himself. I know he was alluding to like USDC and USD, all those coins, but still he's kind of like contradicting himself there. But I get his point with the volatility. It's just it's just everyone's like perspective on money, I guess.
Sounds like he's teaching with a bias, which he shouldn't be doing. He should like
Right.
just be teaching the subject and letting people decide for themselves.
I agree, 100%.
I think if you keep having those back and forths with him, he'll be in the space in a couple months. So keep it up.
let me talk to your econ professor, bro. I can fix him. I got this.
I was gonna ask him what color his Bugatti was, but I didn't want to go that far.
Dude, I would love to. I would love to just be a fly on the wall in some of these lectures, in some of these different universities where the professors are teaching through some of these courses. But I feel like it really is split down the middle, though, because I also have heard stories about some professors that like are completely red pilled as far as Bitcoin, crypto, whatever. That like. So, have you run into anybody like that as far as a professor yet, or is it pretty one sided about being pretty skeptical?
Yeah, so it's actually from the financial from the financial specter, like from the accounting and finance and economics, those classes. It's actually been pretty biased. They all don't have that red pill in them. They all think Bitcoin is not money. But when it comes to I don't know irrelevant classes like English, like the classes you don't think have to do with finance, these teachers actually have like an idea of they think they don't have a one-sided argument. They actually look at the other side, which I find very mature. Like I think it was someone said it. It's very it's not good to teach from a biased perspective, and I totally agree with that. So unfortunately, from the in my university, I haven't seen from the financial classes that there's a teacher that says, okay, Bitcoin is a great investment. Not even saying that, but something to look into. I haven't seen that, but times will change, and hopefully these teachers and professors will educate themselves.
Yo, shoot, what's your major at school?
Accounting.
Accounting. So are you taking like mostly accounting and like econ and finance classes then, right? Because I just
Yes.
heard you say that English was kind of pointless. Or not like that wasn't your exact words, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like as someone who does not come from a finance background and has like had to take those classes, like the reason that you have to go to like when you go to school and you take econ classes, you take math classes, you take English classes, they have these basic requirements so they can teach you how to think. It's not like, oh, these teachers are giving you these biased they're teaching from their opinions and you have to draw your own conclusions. No, you have to draw your own conclusions with whatever information you're given. But the analysis and the understanding that some of your English professors might have, as opposed to your finance professors, they're more interested in learning about something new as opposed to, okay, this is the way the system works. This is the way things are supposed to go. This number has this value. This value equates to this decimal point, and it all fits on a fucking spreadsheet. Okay, English teachers are not like that. English teachers are scatterbrained. They're like, oh fuck yeah, let's totally divert from my lesson plan and have this interesting discussion that's come up because that's the way that the conversation's moved. And it's kind of like hosting a space, you know? But I think that people that are going to be set in their ways are going to be set in their ways. You can give them new information, and if they choose to retain and understand that information, that's on them. You know? I don't know how much luck you'll have with your finance professors unless you fully break their brain and make them resign, which, I mean, go for it. But just, I don't know, something else to think about.
No, I totally agree with you. I cannot agree with you more on that. And from my experience at least, like you said perfectly. These English teachers, they actually, they think outside the box. They don't just have one idea and they explore that one idea, and that's what I love about these English teachers. I definitely don't think they're irrelevant. I said when I said, if I can recall exactly what I said, I said these financial accounting and economics teachers, when it comes, when I'm talking about crypto and the Web3, I kind of like listen to what they have to say. Of course, I care what these English teachers have to say, but this is when this is kind of the major, what I'm majoring in, so I'm kind of listening more what they have to say. These English teachers, like you said, they're very open-minded, and I love that. And I'm not looking to change these professors ideologies or anything like that, because that's just going to take up too much of my time. I can only invest for myself and do for myself. But the main focus here is that there's just so much time ahead of us that people can, obviously there's going to be people that stuck in their minds, but there's going to be other people that actually explore other avenues. And once that actually happens, I just think this market's just going to keep growing and growing and growing. There's no limit.
I agree with you, man. I think Whoppy, you've had your hand up for a while. What's going on?
Yeah, I wanted to touch on your guys' points about like communities and all that stuff. I think with people like in Shoot's age, I mean, I'm 25, so we're not that far apart, but I think our crowd is going to come around the next cycle, more so when you have things like crypto gaming in the background, right? And if it becomes simplified, you can potentially get like billions of people buying digital assets or NFTs without even knowing that they're buying NFTs, right? And if we look at like, the world's population, you essentially have about a third of the world's population that is into these video games, right? So I think for the next cycle or potentially the cycle after, um, you'll have like, that Web 2 crowd sort of bridge over to Web 3. And there are a lot of things in the background, like I had mentioned in your last space, that as far as the innovation side, there are things that are sort of going to bridge that gap. It's just going to take some time. And, people have to recognize that it might not be the next cycle, but it's probably the cycle after the next one, where it's going to be the quote unquote mass adoption cycle. But by that point, I believe the market as we know it today might look a bit different. But as the saying goes, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes, you know. And with these Twitter spaces, I agree on. I'm sorry if I butcher your name, ma'am. Sheik,
Shekinah. Yeah.
Shekinah. Yeah. With a lot of these NFT projects, right? Like Sappy Seals, Pudgies, right? And also like these ones called Overlords. And there's another project that was mentioned on here. I completely forgot, but a few NFTs from the from the Solana side of things as well. They all have like these sub DAO spaces where it's like people forming smaller communities within the larger communities, right? And that's something that's absolutely like admirable, dude. You had every reason to just walk away and never come back, but all it takes is time, dude. All it takes is time. And sometimes the phrase "time heals all things" does come true. And I'm bullish. I'm bullish on Phoenix narratives Essentially, it's like, run it back turbo, rebirth, second chance, redemption, however you want to call it. I'm bullish on that, and I truly believe that we'll far exceed the levels of hype and community engagement that we had in 2021, early 22, by next summer. So summer 2024, I think it's going to be wild. And Kaleo, Kaleo, you had said something a few months back, and you were talking about an associate of yours. He was an older gentleman, and he just said survive until 25, essentially survive until 2025, right? But I think we're gonna have a grace period, to be honest. I'm not calling for DeFi summer part 2, but next summer, not this summer, but next summer, we might have a gift from God, man. We might have some pretty cool music playing, man, as far as exciting things coming out on the markets, and extreme upside volatility, all that stuff. So I largely agree with that statement. Survive until 25, and also bullish on communities, and never ever walk away, dude. I mean, if you've survived, right, FTX and Terra, I almost got caught in Terra, dude. Like, so close, man. That was like a freight train. I got out of that by the skin of my teeth. Why leave now? If you survived all of those, if you survived BlockFi, Celsius, if you survived, like, a few of the DeFi rugs as well, if you managed to escape all the Ohm forks and all that stuff, applaud yourself. Applaud yourself, because like the worst is already behind you. It's nothing but up from here, in my opinion.
Love the sentiment, man. Really do. But yeah, if you've survived through all this, if you've been around, what's scaring you off right now? There shouldn't be anything. And, I think that's why we're seeing a lot of people come back, because a lot of people right now, even with a little blip in the prices, it's giving them just a little bit of hope that maybe this isn't dead. Let's go to Tip Hodl, and then I'm going to go over to CC63 after that.
Hey, yo, what's goody? Shot for having me up. I agree with the sentiment. A lot of King Ways, is it? Sorry, I can't see the rest of your name. But you know what? For some people that have been out here for a long time, we have been waiting for the mass adoption cycle for years. And we've been talking about it for years. Every time there was someone new sort of adopting Bitcoin, like a large air carrier, a large provider of something, people were calling it, holy shit, next summer is the one, everybody's coming into crypto. So the old term, we're all early and we're all going to make it. I'm sorry to tell the NFT people, we're not that early. Early depends on if you can survive, like my man says. If you can buy, hold, and sit through tummy churning dips, then sure, that's all good, but if you're going to be buying, holding, and watching the price every 5 minutes, concerned about your situation, concerned about the money, etc., it's not that early. And Kalei, I was interested to get your take on crypto is cyclical, right? We had ICOs, we had masternodes, we had DeFi, we've had NFT. This is now the second season, in my opinion. The first season was around 2014 when the first NFTs were minted on counterparty blockchain. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the cyclical nature of crypto. And I kind of liken NFTs to masternodes a little bit, and that's sort of a way where there were only a certain number of nodes available, and those nodes sort of reaped the rewards. I find there's some, in my opinion, that relates to masternodes somewhat. I was just interested to get your take on that. Cheers, everybody.
Yo, I never thought I would hear that come out of anybody's mouth. I'm not that I'd hear somebody liking NFTs to masternodes. I respect it. I don't necessarily agree with it. Maybe like that's because I haven't had time to process it fully yet. But I'm trying to think through it. I mean, masternodes. Here's the thing with the masternode, right? I felt like it was just another mechanism for hype because it required whoever to hoard these large amounts for that. I don't know, man. I'm trying to think through. I see what you're saying where there are only X amount, but past that I'm really losing what the comparison would be between it. I mean, I think it's a completely different, because the thing with masternodes were a mechanism within the project itself, right? Like masternodes were not the project. It wasn't what the purpose of each one of those projects were. It was just a byproduct of the validation. So I think it's different with NFTs, right? Like, you don't have to own X amount of NFTs to keep the project. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. My brain's really scattered right now trying to piece together a decent comparison with it. But again, it doesn't mean that there can't be some truth to it. I'm struggling to see it.
No worries, mate. All good. I'll pass it on.
Appreciate it, man. CC3 or CC63's up, then we got Neb after that.
What's up, guys? What's up, Kaleo? Thanks for having me. Love the spaces, always. Just great vibes all around, truly. Like, people helping each other out, helping people understand, like, questions and everything. People from all over, college kids to old-ass men, men and women. But, on top of the vibes and the community, I just wanted to mention, like, we've heard a lot about that on this space. But the actual art, right? The actual art of the Wonky Stonks is what really drew me. I've been in crypto for now since 2014. And, depending on kind of when you get in, you just kind of always gravitate to charts. I'm not a builder personally, but yeah, the charts and the storytelling and the colors and the indicators, all of it. It's just, it's like the epitome of a lot of our experiences throughout our crypto careers, if you will. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the actual artwork itself, on top of obviously our fearless leader in Kaleo over here, but also the vibes in the community as well. But on top of that, we've been talking about adoption, and I forget who, I think it was King Wabi, mentioning gaming as kind of as like the next big wave that will definitely draw in a lot more people. And I think that's definitely going to be the case in some avenues for sure. Personally, I'm not a gamer, so what I'm really looking for right now and really interested for 2023 specifically is the launch of the Saga phone. And I think I was talking to my brother, who's really big in the Helium ecosystem. And Helium's moving over to Solana. They're going to be supporting the Saga the Saga phone. And I just found out that there's like only 2,500 Saga passes, which were these NFTs dropped to people who pre-ordered the Saga phone, which is like 2,500 is not a lot on on any scale. But I'm curious to get your thoughts, Kaleo, and then anybody else who wants to chime in on how you see that going, because to me, hardware is a huge market for crypto, and it really hasn't been iterated upon since your initial miners. And then we kind of got this new decentralized wireless thing with Helium as well, which was a new form of mining. But putting, crypto native hardware in right now thousands of people's hands, that's a really exciting idea for me. And obviously there's going to be kinks. There's going to be things that just don't work out initially, and there's going to be, I'm sure there's going to be hacks and whatnot, new risk factors to take into account. But yeah, no, I'm curious to get this community's take on that, because I do see that being a huge area for growth in the not so distant future. So I'll yield now.
I mean, I think it's mandatory. No, I was going to say, I think it's mandatory. Like that area needs to grow because we have to make this stuff easier for people. I mean, I think, it's with all the scams that have been happening recently. I think a lot of it has to do with, the tech is, I mean, yeah, people are being, what do you call it? Like they're being negligent and holding like their thousands and millions. But at the same time, like if the tech is easier and if we want mass adoption so bad, we have to make it easier. So I think I want to see more competition in the hardware arena. I want to see someone go after, the ledger market, go after like what they're doing, like make something better than what they're making, make something better than MetaMask. Don't let them just kind of hold the market and be like the kings of that space, that niche area. But there needs to be more. There needs to be competition so that there's better products being made that can bring mass adoption because it's so much easier to use.
Yo, sorry. I was snacking on a little bit of dinner, and had my mouth full there at the end of it. Might have missed a little bit of the end of the question there as well. I'd rather be honest than just talk about some type of bullshit. But I actually do apologize. I do have to wrap up this space. I'm sorry to just stop so abruptly like this. I've got a couple things that I've got to knock out. And yeah, appreciate everybody hopping in. We've got tomorrow morning at 12:30 Eastern time, the Wonky Stonk Weekly Alpha space. Make sure to check it out. Follow LedgArt. Look for the notification for that coming. But yeah, appreciate everybody hopping up here. It's been a solid conversation. Really have enjoyed it. And looking forward to more of these. We're doing these every single day. I told myself I would do these every single day until Wonky Stonks hits a new all-time high. Whether that's 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, whatever it is, we're going to keep it rolling. So
the cream rises to the top, Kaleo. The cream rises to the top.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I like to hear. Yeah. With that, we'll go ahead and cut it out. See y'all later.